the finding a job to match my skill level has been maybe an issue. I was talking with my husband about this yesterday, and we kind of worked out that in the 10 years that I've been here, I only actually had a job to match my skills for 11 months of that time, which was my most recent role as an early stage researcher at University of Eastern Finland. So that matched my skill, but then it's a little difficult because I've been kind of skilling up the whole time I've been here, like studying the master's degree and studying the PhD. So all the time my skill level has been hopefully increasing. So then trying to find a job that kind of matches that has definitely been a challenge. And I've been working these sort of what might be considered the lower or entry level jobs instead.
Like my first goal was to find a job in my own field, like chemistry related, and especially I was interested in joining some pharmaceutical companies or research areas, but I found it to be totally out of my league. Like literally I have no chance basically to apply or get admitted to these, because even before I graduate, I started applying for jobs in companies, and I did not even get like a good response from my applications. The only one application which went through the first stage of like, I got a phone interview, and it was one company in Espoo, which is responsible for chemicals, like regulations in EU, and that's the only thing I got after months of like applying and research and everything. It was really hard for me in the beginning. Like I know that people have to work in irrelevant fields to, you know, manage their financial needs, but it was a bit really unfair to me that, okay, I have all this international background and I have done a full master's degree in a field which is quite in high demand in the world at the moment, and I speak like 5 languages, and there is no interest, like there is not even one company who is interested in my skills, and I started to lose my self-esteem and confidence and everything. I feel like mostly it's like lack of sufficient Finnish language skills has prevented me to find jobs in my own field. I'm a bit criticizing, like Finland is one of the most developed countries, and like it's part of the EU and it's working internationally with other places. So why does like knowing Finnish language in this kind of fields has to be a necessary thing for people to start their jobs?
That's mainly my plan, because by then my son will be continuing in daycare and I will be free to work. And I actually do miss working. So hopefully by the end of this year, I will again be an employed person.
So I came here now. Looking back, I realized that how I came to Finland was actually like a really like fortunate way of coming. Like I came here with via work visa. So it was, I think like August 2008, a Finnish recruitment agency came to the Philippines looking for nurses to bring to Finland. And then by October 2008, I got the call that I'm one of the 19 nurses that they're bringing to Finland. And by January 2009, I'm here in Finland working as a nurse. And then I think I worked for like 3 years as a practical nurse. And I was, in a way, like I was really bitter about it because I am a registered nurse in the Philippines. And I really felt like I was tricked by the Finnish government, because they were just like saying that you're going to be a nurse in Finland, a nurse. So I did not understand that here in Finland, there's 2 different nurses, or actually like 3 different nurses. You know, you have the practical nurse, the registered nurse, and then the healthcare nurse. So I felt like I was tricked into that. But now hearing all the stories, and I'm like, well, I should not really be so upset about it, because at least I came with work visa and in the profession, practically the same profession. Like it's still nursing. It's practical nursing, but it's still nursing. So I came here as a practical nurse, and then they also required us to still like study to become a practical nurse. So that also made me upset because like I already have the registered nurse degree from the Philippines and you're not recognizing, you still want me to study the practical nurse degree. So I studied that, I did that for 6 months, and then I got my practical nursing degree in Finland. And then after 3 years, I'm still like, this is not giving me any professional fulfillment because I'm a registered nurse, so I should be a registered nurse. So I went to university in Finland, and then I had to like basically convince them that I don't have to do the entire nursing program, which was 3.5 years. And I also convinced them that I can only do it for 1 year and that I do not have to do the theses. And somehow I was able to convince them. So I only did my nursing degree for a year and I did not do my theses. And then, and then I started working as a registered nurse.
I came to Finland last year in April 2020 during the mid of the COVID pandemic. I moved here because from Singapore, because that's where I met my husband about 4 years ago. And we decided that for a couple of reasons, we wanted to move to Finland. Firstly, his family is from Finland. We wanted to spend more time with them. I was also pregnant, 5 months pregnant by then. We wanted to raise children in Finland because of the great work-life balance and great environment for children to grow up in and the education system. And also because we were a little bit tired of living in a big city like Singapore, and we enjoy nature. So the proximity to nature was a big driving factor for moving to Finland.
I mean, I think the openness to outside perspectives and taking a risk on feeling a little bit uncomfortable with somebody who is, culturally not your exact fit. I know as an American, I often feel that I have to kind of tone down I'm a pretty mellow person by American standards. And even so here in Finland, I feel that, I might come across as too intense sometimes just by being myself. And, I would hope that employers with others who might come from more active cultures, that they could embrace that and see like, well, that's great for our business and that's great for some energy that we can build with our clients and rapport we can build with our clients. And, we can infuse that energy into our end product and et cetera, et cetera. So, I think an openness to a not exact cultural fit.
I haven't been opportune to work in places, organizations where I'm actually employed to put to use my full professional or academic qualifications. I have mostly been in jobs where I have been in just to pay my bills. And those jobs are they usually have a blanket cover scaling system where it's salaries are recommended per hour. So you basically know how much you earn per hour. So it's very easy and difficult on the part of the employers to not be transparent. And it's very easy for you to keep abreast. So I haven't been in jobs where salary or how I'm being compensated has been an issue because I have never really been employed in Finland to the fullness of my abilities.
On one hand, I would love to spend the rest of my life here. I love this country and it has like astonishing nature. I love the winter. I also think that from like in infrastructure, it's clock working. It's really amazing. But on the other hand, I put a lot of time and effort on my studies, and I know my skills and capabilities. And if I'm unable to find a job that reflects that and that will offer me the comfort of a like middle class family, I'm quite sure I will start applying to or searching for jobs abroad.
And at first, when we still were in Moscow, back in Moscow, I tried to find a job here in Finland, but I sent some CVs, but everyone just welcomed me to Finland and no one offered me a job. Well, okay. Then I spoke to people and people told me that I wouldn't be able to find a similar job because I don't speak Finnish and Swedish. So we decided that I would learn a little bit Finnish language and then try to find a proper job.
I would actually say that in my current company, I've had people not realize that I do know Finnish, even though that I have a Finnish last name. But I start speaking English in a meeting. I've had actually in Finnish people say, why are we having an American in this meeting? Or like they would ask like, what am I doing here? Or like, why do we need me included in Finnish? And it's very uncomfortable for me to have to explain that I do know what you're saying, and I also am an expert on the topic that we're discussing, even if we're discussing it in a language that's not my native language. So I have had people question my expertise if just because I don't speak Finnish perfectly.
I'm concerned because well, I have mentioned that I have a boyfriend in Finland. Well, he's from Finland, and I feel like in long term this might affect our relationship because I'm constantly having these ideas of leaving Finland, but I don't want to take him outside of Finland because it's his country, it's his family and everything. So it's like I have to choose between my relationship and my job and my career and everything.
Maybe I've been underpaid sometimes in some of the jobs I've done because maybe I didn't really know what would be the reasonable pay for the job. And I've worked in a lot of jobs where I haven't been a member of a union. And so I was very grateful that when I got my early stage researcher job, then I could join the researchers union and have that kind of backup and pay into the unemployment fund for that. So that gave me like the security when that job contract ends, that I have the union unemployment fund. But yeah, most of my career here in Finland, I've been working, low paid part-time jobs where I had a work contract, but there wasn't really much negotiation on what's the salary and that kind of thing.
This university offers a free Finnish language course to every employees, but the problem is that they do not really offer a lot of courses. So they have just limited numbers of the courses, limited times of the day. So now it opens only like 4 to 6 p.m., which is actually, the biggest time. If you have, 2 young children, it is a time that they come back to home from daycare. And so it is actually very much difficult.
No, I was just like to make like a disclaimer first that I know that like finding a job and also experiencing the job environment itself in Finland is not very easy. I don't mean to imply that I only have like bad experiences. It's very challenging for me to find a job, so I decided like why not doing the cheat way, the instant way, and then I went to the cleaning business. So I went to this website. I don't think they actually are doing like a very good business practice because they are basically just like a market, a job market where people offers their service. But the problem is their consumers are looking for illegal business practice. So they will pay you with cash instead of with tax, and they will ask you for a very low payment. But that's the start of it. And at the time I was just thinking that, okay, I just want to know, like, I just want to test the water. I want to see like, how does the customer in Finland behave? What levels of like professionality that they're looking for, and how things are going in here basically. And after that, after having like several clients, and then I started to have like both household clients and also Airbnb clients. And from there, I learned how to run my current business, which is short-term rental management or Airbnb management.
I do not see a future in this country. Like, I do not really see myself surviving in these conditions for long.
I had one interview. I was invited for one interview during this whole time, and they needed, because it was not in the research or education, it was more like translator kind of work, and they said that they needed full time for 2 years. So my PhD studies kind of didn't work out well in that case, and from everything else I wasn't even invited to an interview. From one rejection, they mentioned that I'm overqualified for this job, so or it's a bit different, and I kind of understand that they want maybe like because usually they say it's like for students who are between their master years. So I understand that I don't fit maybe there, but I also don't fit like to the kind of higher positions, like, well, not higher, but not the summer jobs, but like, so I was trying different options.
People are a bit smarter in how they implement discrimination or racism these days. People are a bit smarter. No one's going to come and tell you that, hey, you can't do this job because you're black. No one will tell you that. But if you look at history and you look around you, you're not able to see someone who is like you, who does that job, you know that it's not for want of people who are like you, who are qualified. You know what it is. It's like the silent language of society. So these are the ways in which I've experienced discrimination in Finland.
In the culinary school, well, whole this corona situation, people, well, they didn't, I mean, they used to have a chefs there, but then they get me because they don't have to pay. So the actual chef were on the leave, like, how can you say, like they are on holiday, but instead of working other like actual chef, then they took me as an intern.
I was able to get several temporary jobs when I first got here, mostly through networking with my extended family. Although one of my first positions was a temporary job teaching English, and the rector there told me that he was happy to hire me for a temporary position, but he would never hire me for a permanent position because I was an American English speaker, and he would prefer somebody with an English accent or even Australian. And then I got into, I registered with the TAA office to look for permanent work. I was assigned to a regular Finnish counselor, and she didn't speak English, and she really didn't know what to do with me. And I kept asking for language courses, and she said, well, no, you don't qualify for the language courses because you should know Finnish. Honestly, I feel like at this point, I feel like that if I'm going to get a position that is fulfilling, a professional position that's fulfilling for myself, that I'm going to have to leave Finland. But I don't know if that's the route that I'm going to take, because like our family is so happy here. The ideas that I've seen about the blind applications, I think that's really good, because I do think that the names a lot of the times give us away. And that unconscious bias, I think, is probably may even be a bigger problem than conscious bias.
There's many job ads that are in English, and then when you scroll down and read the requirements, then it says fluent Finnish and English, or even other languages. Maybe if that was already in the title of the ad, that they are looking for whatever language speakers, that would help. And then being clear about the language requirements and thinking about, is it actually just a bias? Do they prefer a Finnish language speaker, or is it really necessary for the position? okay Finnish skills because you need to read some kind of papers, or you need to maybe at some point communicate with someone in Finnish, and is it okay if it's a little bit broken Finnish and not perfect, or is it a customer service position where of course fluent and really good language skills are needed?
One time my supervisor didn't give me the raise that I rightfully earned. It was like I couldn't even talk to him. I tried to explain like what is happening, and he was like just like, you know, avoiding me, just going away, and I couldn't talk to him. I just contacted my union representative and I said, look, this is the thing. I applied for the raise in the right time. I am meeting all the criteria, but I'm not getting the raise. Why? Why is this happening? And then he said, like, he was super helpful. He booked me an appointment and we talked face to face. Back then there was no corona. And he explained to me, like, you can just go and tell him one more time, and also mention like you need to show him that you're not alone. Otherwise you'll ease a target, basically. So, and then he said, if he doesn't hear you again, don't worry, we're going to take legal action and you're going to get that raise. And I went to his office and asked again that, why is this happening to me? And then he was like, oh, maybe I have forgotten, let's check. And it was like about 4 or 6 months after the raise was supposed to be done. And then he went on and I said, oh, yeah, I haven't approved this. Let's do it. I'll do it later. And he did. And I got then the compensation for the previous months. But can you imagine if I wasn't that active myself and find those ways, I would never gotten any raise to begin with. And when they were mean, basically, I wouldn't know where to go and get help and stand up for myself.
What women commonly speak about is like guilt about going back to work. It's like, should I be there all the time for my child? But I realized I actually really enjoy working. It's a big part of who I am and my identity, because I'm a mother, but I'm also myself, and I enjoy going to work. So I think it was quite crucial for me to be able to be working as well as being a mother. I'm not going to give up. Obviously, I'm not going to go home. And I think that I will continue searching for a job and study languages. And also, if I don't find anything that will be interesting for me, then I would think about opening my own company, because I'm not planning to sit home and to receive this unemployment help. That's like not acceptable option.
And it's even worse when you're a person of color. Precisely when you're African, it's worse. And this is one thing that we need to understand about the life that Africans in Finland have had to put up with so far. It's hard for internationals generally. It's doubly hard for Africans in Finland. And it's very amusing where these prejudices come from, because I don't see how being black or being white affects your ability to contribute to the goals of a company or an organization where you're being employed.
I feel like in many cases, probably due to the situation that Finland is not so used to foreigners speaking Finnish as a second language, people consider that either you can speak Finnish perfectly or you cannot speak it at all. And there's so many things in between. For example, nowadays, I think I can even speak it in the company environment. I wouldn't be comfortable with facing customers with my Finnish, but I've been having meetings with partners for example, partly in Finnish, and then if I couldn't continue, then I used English, because this is usually no problem in the professional world.
You know, the truth is that too many women from my group went to study for nurses, and these people have high education, and they just know that they wouldn't be able to find any job, but nurses are really needed here. So everyone should be a nurse. But for me, it's clear case of discrimination, because I don't know, I worked for 20 years in banking. I have a huge experience. I could be helpful, and I could bring more use.
I do not get paid by the government. I came to Finland on a student basis, so I have been supporting myself financially, like from the first day, and yeah, so I have not been getting any sort of Kela money or any financial support. That's why I have to basically earn my own, money to live. And I asked a friend who just recently moved to Jyväskylä to continue her education, and she moved in with her boyfriend. So I realized that she had found a job quickly in one of the restaurants, like in Jyväskylä, and I asked if they need more workers. So she said, yeah, they are open to finding new workers. So I said, okay, I now need to work in the restaurants to just financially, sustain.